Let's wrap things up in the review section with the biggest one of the week, House of the Dragon. It has wrapped up its second season. Some would argue it was a long trailer, but I would argue that it's still one of the most enjoyable shows out there, even though, yes, I don't think it was up there with season one. But season two
Yeah,
had a lot of really good moments, dude. And I like how they're
definitely.
now saying that they're going to wrap it with four.
Yeah, I like that we have kind of a clear
Plan.
path, and we're not necessarily like extending just to extend this thing. You know, with only 2 seasons to go, the promise of conflict has to be fulfilled in not too long. I think a lot of people forget what the experience of watching Game of Thrones was. Like, we spent 5-6 years on that show just saying winter is coming, waiting for winter to actually come. It's not like the show was just constant battles and deaths and double crosses.
Yeah.
There was obviously a bunch of it, and there was a bunch of like climactic moments and big season finales. But this season also, I think, had a lot of really, really big moments. That episode 4, I wonder if people are just like forgetting how much happened there and how
Yeah.
consequential it was.
Top rated right there.
Exactly, right? And, episode 8, in terms of season finales, sure, I think it was maybe a little bit anticlimactic. I think we're used to seeing seasons of shows go out on some big bang, go out with some epic moment, and the season saved most of that for the middle. It doesn't make me dislike it as a season of television. Like, I wish we got a little bit more. I'm reminded of the fact that the first 6 seasons of Game of Thrones had 10 episodes each, whereas this one of House of the Dragon was only 8, and maybe those 2 extra episodes would have helped feel a little bit more complete. But I still found it to be some of the most riveting television I've seen all year.
Yeah. Again, this is one book as opposed to Game of Thrones that was
Right.
a lot more. So when I see it be 8 episodes, but they're already stretching the one book to be 4 seasons, where the other one was almost like book to book, kind of. I think that they're just going more in depth with it. I almost feel like it's the inverse of what happened with Thrones. Like, oh, y'all think we rushed it. Now you're going to think the opposite. You'll never accuse us of milking something because of the remnants of season 8 that you still have in your mouth. So we're going to take our time with it. And I think the reason people have a lot of backlash for it is because of what Game of Thrones did for a lot of us. The penultimate episode was always a really big episode. It was almost like
Yeah,
the finale before the finale. And I
totally.
think Game of Thrones got us used to that we would be like, holy smokes, right before we would have everything. And then it's almost like the dust is settling with the actual finale. So we almost got like an epilogue. Season 2 of Game of Thrones also did something that I feel broke the curse of a lot of series, even favorite ones of mine like Lost. Season 2 of Game of Thrones is incredible. One of the best finales, just through and through. Some of the best dialogue that really shaped the idea of that sophomore slump not being a thing that a massive show like this would have to deal with. I don't think it suffered from a sophomore slump. It was a very calculated decision to have this be like that part 1 of Deathly Hallows. This is
Right.
all set up so that 3 and 4 can hit. And if 3 and 4 hit, we won't look back at this with a bad thing. It really, like you're saying, the only argument is I wanted more, and I can live with that. I can live with
Right.
that. I can't live with like they messed it up and there's no way to fix it. It's just a little bit slow. It's got the worst thing that season 3 of The Bear did as well, where it's like, what the heck? Now we're ending with to be continued. This
Yeah, a
was like,
little
we're
bit of
getting a war,
kicking
we're
the
getting a
can down
war.
the road.
Yeah, bro. The season 1 ended with prepping for the war, and then so did season 2, and that's never a good look. All the Game of Thrones ended with a completely different finale. This ended with the exact same place that we were at the end of the other one, and I think that's people felt that. But there's a lot of good that happened this season, like you were saying. I did not mind things like Damon the entire time. My man is moping around. He's going through visions. He's getting hallucinations. All of that led to a scene in this finale that I liked a lot. I liked the process of what it got him to finally be a part of the team, the visions
Right.
that he needed to get. All of that worked for me, and it sacrificed a lot of his like braggadociousness that I think really stood out in season 1 into a more somber, contemplative, psychological route that they took with him. I had no problem with that. But I can see why that was a lot slower for people. You still got some of the best battles, though. The Red Dragon and the Gold, like you were saying, episode 4. That stands out. But they went so
Totally.
hard on that because they weren't going to give you some other stuff for the finale.
Yeah,
I like
exactly. I liked it though. I liked it as well. I'm eager to get it back. I wish we existed in a TV landscape that didn't mean we'd have to wait at least 18 months to get more of it, though. And that's another reason why I think maybe the finale feels a little bit disappointing in that not giving us some kind of big, conclusive, epic moment to sort of sit on and marinate on. We're left like just waiting, just anticipating more. And I mean, I guess the books are out there for people if they want
Yeah.
them. But yeah, I mean,
can see what you mean.
I'm still enjoying spending time in Westeros. I still think that the vision of
it's
the
pretty
show is really incredible. I'm curious though, given now that we're 2 seasons into House of the Dragon and the show is what it is, are you more or less excited about the Game of Thrones Dunk and Egg spinoff that apparently has a 6-episode first season coming sometime next year?
That's the one they have a trailer for?
I think so.
Game of Thrones spinoff. I'm excited for all of them. I think this was the one to be like, are you guys going to be able to do something outside of the main storyline? And for the most part, they do. Like we've talked about the elements that they keep with it, which I think is genius. Something that, you know, if you're talking about other big corporations and the such, you have to bring back Robert Downey Jr., right? But here, you just have to bring back the themes, the literal music, the intro, the environment of it. The story leads into Game of Thrones, but it's so far away. They're dealing it with it like Star Wars style, where you know something's upon you, but it almost adds to Game of Thrones because what's affecting the characters here, they're just prepping for what we know our original characters are going to go through. And I think it almost like, again, I mentioned Star Wars because of what the prequels were able to do. It just heightened what those originals were supposed to be. So like you were saying, the mention of winter is coming is like, oh, wow, it's been coming for this long. Like these were the original people to prep for it. And I'm wondering what more they add in this series that is going to answer a lot of questions that we had for the future of Game of Thrones that we already got in the past. I don't know. It's fascinating. I think it's going to be fun. And I think as long as they keep the same level of detail, I'm okay with it. Like you're saying, we're going to have to wait 2 years for the next one of this. But if in between we get this, I'm good with it. All right, I'm pull it up over here. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I heard there was a little teaser that they were playing in between Max intros. So I read Dunk and Egg.
Oh, really?
That was really good. So
Okay, cool.
I like it, bro.
I'm more excited for it then.
Like to me, Dunk and Egg could be the best out of all of them.
All right. Do I have to read
It's
it?
buddy cop. Like not necessarily buddy cop, like because they're criminals,
Right.
Kinda. Just
Odd
out
couple
in
dynamic?
Westeros. Like, yeah, because you Game of Thrones, House of Dragon. All right, you're here. Okay, are you with House Green? Oh, in their hand, and there's like, who are you following? It's just the two boys, bro. It's just them.
Cool.
So I think it could be good.
Very cool. I'm definitely excited for it. I mean, they've managed to make both Thrones and House of the Dragon really riveting shows, and I think I think I just trust HBO's stewardship of this franchise. You know, obviously there was that really splashy prequel show with Naomi Watts that was supposed to happen and that they ended up not going forward with. To me, that still is a good sign that they want to make sure if they are trying to expand this franchise, they're doing it in the right way.
Yeah, that's good. Game of Thrones. Let us know your thoughts down below. I would still recommend catching up on it. First season is fantastic, and the second season is still really good. Just leaving people anticipating a little bit more.